welcome to a couple of segments of On the Rock. We are not Bishop and First Lady Mother Underwood. We are Bishop Greer, Pastor Simmons, Jordan Simmons, and Brother Hub. And we are here representing my parents on the Rock. And at this time, we'll have the scripture, which is what this show was built on, by Bishop Greer.
The scripture is coming out of Matthew 16, verse 18. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Thank you. Upon this rock, that rock was the statement Peter made. Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Peter, I perceive you to be a prophet, son. And upon this rock, upon what you just said, we're going to build the rock, the solid foundation, which is Jesus Christ. We're excited to be here. We're going to take 2 segments at one time, so it'll be in consecutive weeks. But at this time, introduce yourselves. Say something to the people.
Bishop Larry Greer served with Pool of Siloam Outreach Ministries, as well as Jehovah Jireh Prison Ministries. We go to 2 or 3 different facilities, and so we're looking forward to it and enjoying being here with Elder Hub, Pastor Jordan, and thank you, Bishop and Dr. Underwood, for allowing us this space.
Amen. It's Pastor Jordan from New Generation Christian Fellowship here in Champaign, Illinois. We're just glad to be here this morning. Thank Hub for the invitation, and we thank Bishop Underwood, as well as Reverend Dr. Underwood, Evelyn Underwood. We thank you guys for allowing us this platform.
And you know what? We're going to talk about 2020 vision.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know. I just was built with curveballs in me, man. And I was listening to Bishop Greer. I just thought about this prison. Now, I had a basketball Christmas tournament, so I wasn't able to go the 4th Saturday. Was that your first time?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, elaborate. Bishop Greer is the head of the Department of the Prison Ministry, and so we go every month, and this was Pastor Jordan's first time going. I wasn't able to go, but I've been before. Great experience, but just share with the people.
Yeah, man, it was absolutely amazing. My first time doing it, like you said, and just to see the hunger and the thirst of those in that facility and in the situation and circumstance that they're presently in. It's amazing, because you don't really get that from people that, you know, have the luxury of going to church. But these people are in a situation where they're pretty much powerless, and they're looking for an answer, and you got to give it to them raw and give it to them real. And I appreciate Pastor Greer for allowing me to come along, man, and I really had a great time. So it was wonderful.
And one of the things is, people might say, oh, well, that's jailhouse ministry. They still have a choice to go. They can lay in the bed and watch the NFL game.
Right.
You know, so the hunger, I saw that as well, man. They hungry. And a lot of them ready to make change when they come out. Come on, Pastor Greer.
Well, they are. They're looking for places to go. They're looking for churches to go. They're looking for pastors that are real, that are going to give it to them in the raw. You can sugarcoat anything, but when it comes down to where the rubber meets the road, they want somebody that's saying what they mean and mean what they say. And, you know, like I was sharing with Pastor Jordan, they're looking for somebody that sound like them, look like them. The young person, all our young people are not doing drugs. All our young people are not banging. All our young people are not doing the things that they're doing. But even those that are out there doing it, they're still looking for somebody to say, come on, I was just like you, or I was almost like you, but I made a change. And so if we can get the young people to see that there's something that is really to the church, you know, and we can't knock young pastors that are coming along. We need to uplift them, because they're going to bring the young people. And so as I watched Pastor Jordan move in the short time that he had to move, they were impressed with him. They drew off of him. And so I told him at the end, as we were leaving, bring your tithe next time. You know.
I call it a hub offering.
Right. So you got to bring somebody with you next time.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
that's what they need.
Yeah.
They want to see somebody that's out there doing the positive.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
and
sir.
they getting out.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And they coming to your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So if you're saying to me that, well, I ain't going there because that's not me, but yet you don't want to help them,
Right.
when they come out, they're either going to do one or two things.
Right.
They're going to come to your church or they're going to come to your house.
That's right.
And
Well,
they
yeah.
come to the church, they're going to they're going to bring, you know, what they need, or when they come to your house, they're going to take what they need.
That's powerful.
So it's up to us.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what 2020 is all about.
Yeah, 2020 vision. I'm excited. I'm you know, I already had a previous engagement, but the Lord had already gave me peace. It wasn't meant for me to go. You know, it was not meant for me to go, and so I like to move and flow the way He allows us to flow. I had a real bad car accident, so we're praying for all the families that was involved in the accident last night. Couple of our basketball players from Urbana, Jamel and Jamontre, some of their people was involved, and I knew the guys. So we praying, Champaign-Urbana, we have to pray one for another. And so we praying for those families that were involved. 2020 is here.
Yeah.
New decade, new year, new month. And so what are we going to do in 2020? What are we gonna do? I in my devotion yesterday and today, it talked about potential, and your worst enemy is your last success.
All right.
Your worst enemy is your last success.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of us tend to rest on our laurels, and man, did you hear about what I did last week? You know, and so. But I wrote this down out of my devotion. Potential is therefore not what you have done, but what you are yet able to do. In other words, what you have done is no longer your potential. What you have successfully accomplished is no longer potential.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of great stuff in 2019. A lot of great stuff, you know, but God is waiting on what He hasn't seen yet.
That's right.
And so we got a new year, you know, great things in 2019. What can we say to the people? What kind of advice we can give them? What a word. They need a word.
Well, it's just what you said. That's 2019 is old news. He wants some new things coming out. That new idea that you had, that new potential that you're working with. Somebody encourage you. You have an idea rolling around in your head. Can't nobody see it in your head. Can't nobody read your thoughts. So you got to put that, like you said, put it on paper, bring it out, present it to the people, so that they can see that, okay, we can go to the next level. Okay, we got the bridge, now we got to get across the bridge. And we got to bring those people that are looking, that are thirsty and hungry for the word. We got to bring them. We got to encourage the young people to bring those ideas. There's no bad idea. There's no bad idea. Somebody came up with the Egg McMuffin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and then they said, well, you know what? The Egg McMuffin is good with that Canadian bacon, but let's try sausage on it. And so somebody had an idea in the boardroom.
In the boardroom. In the architecture.
In the architect room.
Yes, sir.
We got an idea. Just like our shoes. Somebody had to put that swish on there. Just an idea. Just something small became popular and relevant. And what does it say? Just do it.
Just do it.
A few words that are still going on today. And like you said with Michelle Obama, when they go low, you go high. So whatever you think that somebody's not going to like, that means you go ahead and do it, just to see. If they don't like it, then they're going to tell you, but if it's successful, it's going to do it. Look at the internet, an idea in the boardroom. But now look at it. We got all those different sites that we can go to, even Google, to find what we need. Somebody sat there and thought about it, and we're paying for it.
Ooh, I feel your motor running, man. Pennzoil ain't gonna help. Come on, Troy.
Man, I kind of go back to a message that I preached this past Sunday. I used the illustration of a lighter, cigarette lighter, not just a lighter, a cigarette lighter, and talked about the potential of a lighter is the fluid that's in it, and how it will never produce a flame unless you flick it. You flick that wheel. Now, what happens when you do that is there's a valve in there that opens that gives it air, gives the fluid air, but at the same time there's a spark that lights it. And so when you get ready to walk into your purpose and to release your potential, you're giving that gift air, but at the same time there's going to be a spark that comes from friction, and friction is just resistance. And so when you get ready to release your potential and your gift, get ready for resistance, because people don't want you to give your gift air. More importantly, the enemy doesn't want you to give your gift air and doesn't want you to really become who God desires for you to be. But the friction is helpful too, because you need a spark for a flame. So I think just in this season, it's important to, like God said to Joshua, fear not. Don't worry about, like he said to Jeremiah, don't worry about their faces, the way they're looking at you.
Good God.
Do what I told you to do, and
Good
you'll
God.
see the results of it. So,
You know what? We moving around too. We close on the house on the 31st. We're going to let our daughter, we're going to stay in our house here because she's on the basketball team. So we're going to let her try to finish out as much as that as possible before we move, because we want to do everything
definitely.
legal. But it's just, even after I bought the house, just, just thinking, all right, man, such as, you're moving to the new town, you're going to have haters and
Right.
and so I was going through that. And I'm telling you, God had you say that. Because yesterday I received a call from one of I'll call him a VIP. I ain't going to put him on blast. But I call him a VIP in Rantoul. And he said, man, what you doing moving to my town and not calling me yet?
Wow.
So I explained to him that I'm not really there yet. But I allowed him to talk. And the more he talked, the more I trusted what he was saying. I got a good feeling like this was a genuine call. Because you're going to have the fakers and the shakers.
Right.
Because they know I'm coming.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
coming, Joy.
yeah,
I'm coming and I'm anointed. I'm bringing it with me.
Yeah.
I ain't coming looking for nothing. I'm bringing it with me.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
so,
sir.
and so, but it was just a blessing. And he don't even know it yet. But it was just a blessing for him to say, man, we excited that you come.
Yeah.
And we want to help you in any way. And really, honestly, I don't want to knock Champaign-Urbana, but that's kind of what God told me. They not ready in Champaign-Urbana. They think they got all the answers. They not ready, man. They not ready for this movement.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do, I don't want you to not use your potential.
Right.
I want you to go use your potential with people who going to not only appreciate you, but embrace change.
Yeah.
So we can get these young guys out of here and young girls out of here. And I'm still going to be, I'm leaving my store here in Champaign. My mama here, born and raised here. So it ain't like, oh, I'm forget about Champaign. No, but Champaign just ain't ready. They're not ready.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, I said, Lord, I don't want to be, if I got to be frustrated, let me leave. Let me go where I can work the way I need to work. You know what I'm saying? Around people who going to appreciate it instead of fighting you on every hand.
Right.
And so, man, 2020 is going to be totally awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be totally awesome, and I'm so excited. My wife started a new job in Champaign. Shout out to David Northern and his crew over there at the Housing Authority. She's going to be working there. She excited. This was her first full week, and she's excited learning. But she cold-blooded.
Yeah.
I had to remind her that they ain't did you no favor now.
Yeah.
They ain't did you no favor. And they better appreciate you while you're there. Because God got you. You went to Cornell University, Ivy League.
Right.
Not Shoe Booty, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? So don't. I mean, I want you to be grateful, but you the real deal.
Yeah.
They don't even know yet.
Yeah.
And so, man, just new beginning. Shout out to Carl Hospital. They got daycare center so we can look on the phone and see what they doing all day long, man. Just new. It's a newness, man. In my spirit, it's like a fresh anointing.
Yeah.
You know, and even the support. I believe I feel like the community is catching on to trying to support each other even more, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about 2020. My dad got a lot of vision for the church. The church was packed the first Sunday, and you know you have to let people know that you appreciate them.
Yeah.
They don't have to come. They don't have to come to your church. They can go to any kind of church they want, or they can stay home. A lot of people staying home. They just so frustrated with the church, they staying home and watching it on TV or having their own service. So he was glad, you know, the church was packed. It ain't been packed like that in a while. But that's a glimpse of God's glory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm really excited about what we're going to do in the prison.
Absolutely.
Because they need us.
They do.
They need
They
us.
do. They do. I think, you know, it's a year kind of finding your friction, finding the resistance that's really going to push you. Like, when you talk about potential, there's something that's got to draw that out of you. It's not, it has to be kind of like enticed out of you. There's got to be a Goliath that makes David, you know, bring that warrior up out of him. There's got to be something that's pulling on you, that's drawing on you. And so I think, you know, even with you and Rantoul, just finding, okay, this is my place. This is the thing that God called me to do. And it's set up in a way that my skills work here.
Yes, sir.
You know, just like with Goliath, David had a slingshot and he had a rock. Now, you know, if he would have been fighting somebody else, that might not have worked.
That's
if
right.
he had to
That's
fight,
right.
you know, the whole army of the Philistines, that might not have worked.
right.
But Goliath was the perfect enemy for what he had, for the potential that he had. And so I think this year for even the churches, it's really time to get back to God and let him position you and place you in a situation where it's your perfect enemy. It's the right amount of resistance to draw that potential out of you. I was looking at Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. And I looked at it in the New Living Translation, and it was saying, where there is no divine guidance, the people run wild. Where there is no divine guidance, where God is not the one placing you and directing you. And so I think it's really time to get back to God and seek him and ask him, where do you want me to be? Where do you want me to do in this time of my life? Because we got untapped potential everywhere. We've got, I mean, there's so many good, even when we went to the prison, I didn't know how it was going to be set up. I didn't know what to expect. But you walk in there, they got musicians in there, they got singers in there, they got everything in it. It's just untapped potential, man. So
the last time we went to the prison, it's been a couple of years for me. Man, they had a musician so cold.
Yeah.
And after we got finished, you know what he said?
What's that?
Man, where y'all church at?
Yeah.
When I get out, I want to come there.
Yeah.
And we had we don't talk about it on air, but we had a great conversation on the way home about putting the program together.
Right.
Because the wilderness is crying out for us.
Come on.
Come on, Pastor Grill.
Y'all said everything that I was going to say. So I'm not stuck, but you're right. There's untapped potential in all of us. And we have to have that flint.
Let me help you go somewhere real quick. How important is it for the leader? Because when I see somebody, I be like, what church you go to? What you doing in the church? Oh, you ain't working, you ain't doing nothing? I'm going to come holler at you.
Yeah.
Because you got a gift.
Yeah.
And so how important is it for the leader to realize the potential in his people to ignite it? Because some people like Gideon is hiding in the wine press and talking about, God, you call me a mighty man of valor. He don't even know he got it in him. So how important is it?
That's what the leader looks out and see. And all you got to do is have a conversation with somebody, and you can feel what's in them.
Yeah.
And you got to tell them, it's not about whether you up front or not, but it's that you do what you need to do to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when I worked there, I worked in the programs department in corrections, and they want to do different programs, like for Black History Month, Hispanic Month, all these different programs. And so my workers would come and tell me, well, we got this, this, and this that we want to do. And I say, okay, that's what you want to do? There it is. Write it up, bring it to me. A person comes to you with an idea, you don't shoot the idea down.
Yeah.
You say,
Come on, son.
bring
Come
me
on,
that
son.
idea.
Come on.
Let's
Come on,
look
son.
at it.
Come on.
And then, okay, if we can do it, then fine.
Yeah.
You write it up. And when you look out, a leader that looks out into his congregation and say, well, you know what? I see that young man or that young person, you know, doing a lot of things. Let me talk to them and see where they at.
Yeah.
And if they come with you with an idea and they say, like, you know what, I think we could put a program on to draw the youth. Or I think we have a program that we can relate from the youth to the adults. Then write it up and bring it to me. You have to push them to be further than they are. Because if not, you're right. They'll be back there hiding.
Yeah.
And you have to make them feel welcome. You have to make them feel like they're the only person you're focused on right now. Because if you don't, they'll say, well, you know what? They're too much up here. And you have to talk to their level. You know, you might be educated and come with $1,000 word, but you didn't start out with $1,000 word. You started out with nickel worth of cents. So you have to bring it to them on their level, then encourage them to bring it on out. Because if you don't nurture them, and if you say, okay, I heard what you said, somebody else already did that, well, we're going to move on to something else. That's going to discourage them and the word going to get out. You know, your leadership skills are in question all the time. And so you have to make sure that whether it's an idea that you think is foolish or going to be a millionaire idea, you have to take all ideas as if they're $1 million idea.
And you know, I on my way to Jordan, I'm listening to you, and I would be a plum fool to go move to Rantoul and just start doing stuff. Now, I done been there enough to know some stuff. But, Jordan, the first thing, my goal is before March 1st to have been done broke bread with every pastor in Rantoul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And quote 133rd Psalms. Behold how good and how pleasant it is
Yes,
for
sir.
brethren to dwell
Yes, sir.
together and sisters
Yes, sir.
in unity.
Yes, sir.
You got what I need, I got what you need.
Yes, sir.
If we don't come together, we both gonna lose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, I know how LDA is, and I know how we did this at Ader, but man, it's a whole lot more than Rantoul in my little old paradigm.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I need to go with the leaders, talk to them, because they got a pulse on the whole time.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
And so my first thing is to sit down with them over some grits at Ox or one of them other spots, Red Wheel, and listen.
Yes, sir.
I don't need to do no talking. God already gave me my part, but I need to incorporate their part because they can make stuff a lot easier on
That's
all
right.
of
That's
us,
right.
and especially not on my watch, right? Because
That's
I
right.
need a building.
Yes, sir.
I need a building and not one made with hands. So come on.
Yeah, that's important, man. That leaders connect and that we work together because God has placed us and positioned us not to compete with one another,
Yes,
man.
sir.
I talk about a lot of times how I was never really a competitive person, and so I came into preaching thinking that it was a team sport, then found out it was just as competitive as basketball. But I mean, I think it's important, man, that we put our preferences aside because that's all it is preference. A lot of it ain't scripture. It's just what I like versus what you like. But at the end of the day, it's about the people and it's about drawing people to Christ. And I think that's where we get back to that divine guidance when we allow God to lead us back to working with one another. I've been reading Acts a lot lately to see the early church and see what the Holy Ghost really did when he came. He didn't just make people speak in tongues and run around buildings and shout and dance, but he brought people together and made them sell their possessions, and they laid it down at the apostles' feet, and the apostles worked together and evenly distributed the things that were laid down at their feet. It wasn't, well, let me get 20%, you get, it wasn't none of that. It was, we gonna work together and see how we can make sure everybody's eating. And so I think even what you were talking about with potential, man, that is leadership. And I'm really learning leadership in these, early years of me pastoring here, is drawing on the potential of people.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes that will make people dislike you. They're gonna follow you, but they're gonna be mad at you, and you got to be willing to deal with that and to handle that, and to know that I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it for your benefit. That there were some things that Jesus said to Peter that Peter didn't like, but Peter knew, you've got the words of eternal life, so I'm gonna follow. And Jesus knew, you need me to do this for you because you don't know what you have in you. And you notice that Jesus spent more time with certain apostles. He invested more in certain apostles, and those same apostles were the ones on Pentecost that stood up and preached and drew 8,000, 4,000, and were drawing the crowds, because these are the ones that Jesus really invested in, and they allowed Jesus to invest in them. They allowed him to pull on their gifts. And so, if you're not in the position of pastor or leadership, it's important that you submit to the one that you're under and allow them to pull on you, allow them to stretch you, because it's going to be the best decision you ever make.
And you know what? The better relationship, I told somebody last night, I might not be the best X and O guy, but my gift as a basketball coach is relationships.
Yes, sir.
I can get them to go through the wall.
Right.
Because I don't already let them know I care. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes, sir.
But once they know you'll go to the wall, this one kid at Central, the AD back then said, don't pick him. I said, wow, he's a troublemaker. I like him. That's why I coach.
Right.
I love to keep me one or two troublemakers. The good kids ain't really got the coach.
You need a Rodman.
Yes, I need somebody who rough around the edges so I can use the round ball to get him better.
Yeah, that's good.
He couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
I kept him. I kept one every year. I kept a couple. And this one that he told me, he ended up biting me 4 months down. He lasted for 4 months, but then he went upside somebody's head, and we had to get rid of him. But that's how it is.
Right.
Another kid squared up with Champaign Centennial Central game, and he squared up with a guy for pushing this guy down. I love the fact that he had his players back. I walked to the court, put my hand around him, escorted to the locker room, said, man, I love that, but we can't do that out here. I love it. We can't do that out here. He ain't never forgot that.
Right.
And so the scripture when you was talking, as the eagle stirs the nest, so shall I stir up my people. So when the baby eagles is in the nest, it's all comfortable up top. But underneath is thorns and thistles. And when the mother eagle is ready to release the potential, she stirs up the nest. And the thorns and the thistle, good God.
Yes, sir.
And so they push them out and they have to go fly. And that's what we have to do as leaders. You said they're going to be mad at you, but them same people that's mad at you going to be talking about you when they on the news getting honor for what they did. You know what? I thought I was a nobody. But Pastor Jordan and God, they saw something in me. They looked behind my fault and saw my need. You know what I'm saying?